Hey everyone, welcome to another Anstead's live video. It's going to be a nice one today. We're going to talk about some new cigar that's coming out. Wayne, who's our special guest today?
Well, we are blessed to have Laura Tilley here with us from General Cigar. She is the brand ambassador for Macanudo. Macanudo is one of the brands I've carried for probably 47 years in the cigar business. So it's a brand that's been around a long time. It's got quite a history. And I think Laurel's smoking the newest cigar out there.
Yes.
She'll tell you about here in just a few minutes. And I pulled out of my private stash an old Macanudo vintage from 1984. These were
That's my favorite year.
Yeah, they were made in Jamaica back then. So I figured I don't smoke them very often, so I thought today would be a good day for a treat. So Laurel, glad to have you. You want to tell our crowd a little bit about yourself?
Yes, and thank you so much for inviting me to the show. Always a pleasure. It's a beautiful day to sit outside and smoke a cigar. So definitely worse things I could be doing. I have worked on Macanudo specifically for about 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August. And then I've been with General for 4 years in October. Prior to that, I managed a retail cigar shop in Milwaukee where I live. And I was there for about 6 years prior to this. So overall in the cigar industry, just about a decade already, which seems crazy. So as far as Macanudo goes, I've been, like I said, working as a brand ambassador for about 3 years. So it's going around and doing events, doing staff trainings, being part of the blend selection panel, and kind of being the face of Macanudo, so to say.
Awesome. So, can you tell us a little history of Macanudo? Like I said, 47 years I've been in the business, and I remember back in the 70s, there was not a lot of advertising. Cigars wasn't huge in the United States, but I remember if you picked up the New Yorker, Macanudo General Cigar was always advertised. So it's a brand that's iconic, that's been around forever, and they make kind of a plethora of different cigars. So tell us a little history about the brand, when it got started originally, because I don't really know when it actually came about.
Absolutely. So Macanudo as a brand so it actually started as a front mark. Let me not get ahead of myself here. So Macanudo was originally developed under the Punch line. So it was not its own brand, rather it was a front mark of Punch. And then Punch was produced in Cuba, and when Cuban tobacco was starting to become illegal in certain places to import, Macanudo branched off from being simply a front mark to being its own brand, and was being produced in Jamaica. Like you were saying with that 1984, it was still using the Jamaican tobacco. So it started its development as its own company in Jamaica around, 1868 would be the development of the brand itself. Yes. So 1868 is when Macanudo started. 1968 is when the Colemans acquired it. And it's interesting that you brought that up, like in the 70s when there wasn't a lot of advertising, but it was just something you always saw Macanudo. And the Colemans were incredibly instrumental in getting Macanudo to kind of be on everybody's mind for a cigar. They brought it into every golf course, restaurant, hotel, anywhere that made sense to sell cigars. Macanudo was there, and that really made it the brand it is today. So after the acquisition in 1968, we brought it to the States in 1971, and that's where it continued to grow. So it is a very iconic brand. It's been around for a very long time. But I would argue that it's really been in the last 5 or 6 years that the innovation with it has just been going absolutely crazy. I mean, we've had the Macanudo Cafe forever. The Macanudo Maduro, the 68, and the Cru Royale were kind of our staple lines. But as far as the Inspirato series, our flavored series, a lot of our limited releases, that's all been within the last 5 or 6 years. So it's great to see a brand that has so much heritage really still continue to develop and kind of keep up with market trends.
So the overall profile of Macanudos are typically mild to medium, would you say, on average?
Some of the core line, yes. I would say that the Macanudo Cafe, of course, I would argue that it doesn't really get much mellower than that.
Right.
And then the Macanudo Maduro, even, it's simply a Maduro wrapper, but still a mellower cigar. Once you get into the Inspirato series, the black is going to be a medium plus, the green is a medium plus, and the red is going to be fuller bodied. The majority of the line is still kind of in that mellow to medium range, but we do offer things that are fuller bodied as well.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the nice profile. The
And then there's
do well.
And then there's the Vintage 97 series, which is more full bodied with rich flavor.
Yeah, so it's not, I mean, unlike La Gloria for us, I would argue that La Gloria is primarily fuller bodied cigars, and occasionally there's a limited release or, you know, a short run in there that's going to be a little bit mellower, whereas Macanudo tends to be more in that medium bodied range, and we do offer a few selections that are fuller bodied, but the overall feel of the brand is still a little bit more approachable in that sense.
Right, yeah. It's good. Like I said, I think one of the first cigars I smoked was probably a Macanudo, probably back in 1974 when I started. And I liked it because it was mild, but it had a great flavor.
Okay.
Some cigars were just too over the top, where I liked the taste, but didn't want all that strength. So,
yeah.
How many face marks does Macanudo have?
Let's see. So under Inspirato, with the addition of the green, we have 5. And then Full Run, Cafe, Maduro, Cru Royale, 1968, Vintage 97, Vintage 2006. So, and then the bourbon and the coffee. So 13 plus limited releases. So 13 full run front marks.
Okay, awesome. So tell us about, there's a new cigar coming out. I know we already have it on order. I think it's scheduled for the first part of August, and I think you're lucky enough to be smoking one. We're not that privileged down here in the South. So tell us about the new cigar that you guys are coming out with.
To be fair, I feel like if I didn't have a couple of greens, I wouldn't be doing my job, right?
I'm not judging at all. Not judging.
Yeah, so very excited about the green. We've had the Inspirato series in the United States now since 2016, and the orange actually started that. So, Tom, I know you were smoking the orange earlier, if not still, but I know you held up the vintage.
Yeah.
So we, before the green here, we've kind of offered the mellow, medium, fuller-bodied selection. So this isn't going to be outside of that portfolio as far as strength. This is going to be akin to the black and that kind of medium to full, but we're using it's a very Brazilian based cigar. So we're using Brazilian Arapiraca, which is the first time that we're ever using Arapiraca for a Macanudo cigar. We really don't use a ton of Brazilian tobacco for Macanudo overall. The Vintage 97 as well as the Cru Royale are the only other 2 cigars within Macanudo that uses any Brazilian tobacco, and that's Mata Fina, which tends to be a little bit spicier, a little bit stronger, whereas the Arapiraca, I find to have a nice balance of that kind of earthiness, sweetness, a little bit of the spice. So, yes, medium plus, and the wrapper of the cigar is very much highlighted. We're using Indonesian tobacco for the binder, which is going to give it a very subtle floral aroma as you smoke it, and then a mix of Dominican and Colombian tobaccos for the filler. So it's really helping balance it out, but there's no tobaccos in the kind of like that the heart of the cigar that's going to compete too much with the flavor of that Arapiraca wrapper. So if you're looking for something a little bit more balanced, you really like a Brazilian-based cigar. What's cool about it too is that there's not a lot of other companies out there with an Arapiraca wrapper that's quite as ubiquitous as Macanudo is. So it's nice to be able to produce a cigar like this and have it be available on a wider scale.
And we've got a really nice photo here I'm going to put up so
Sure.
people can see how luxurious this cigar looks.
Yes, it looks beautiful. And I feel like we did a really good job with that that band, because sometimes green can be a little tricky on a cigar. I mean, there's a reason that red and gold are the primarily used colors, because the color of the tobacco doesn't always jive well with colors of bands. So that really nice emerald green is a nice touch for sure. And it's kind of a nod to the Brazilian flag, and then, you know, all the rainforests in Brazil. It's typically people think of it as a very green country. So it's nice that we were able to achieve that with the band as well.
Yeah, looks
good looking band. That green and the silver.
The design of the bands and the the cigars, or is that part of your genre? Is that your job as well too?
So as far as designing the bands,
mm-hmm.
no, that's not my job. It would be fun, but our professional designers do a much better job than I would do.
Okay. Awesome. That's awesome. So right now we're running a promotion in the store that includes all the General Cigar brands, which is like La Gloria, Punch, Partagas, and it's Tom. You want to tell our viewers what we have going on through August 1st?
Absolutely. So through August 1st, we've got what we call the Upgrade Your Man Cave. Buy any 10 General products, Macanudo especially, any 10 cigars, and you're going to get a raffle ticket. And Saturday the 1st, we're going to draw a winner, and that winner is going to win this awesome electric humidor here, like a Winador humidor, and they're going to get this giant Samsung smart TV. It's going to be pretty great. So we got today's little video event here, and then this weekend we've got the event live here in store where you can get some good deals and possibly go home with this fantastic special prize set.
So and you don't want to miss Carol Lee.
No, yes, Carol Lee's going to be in. Carol Lee is our rep. She's going to actually be in the store doing the event for our customers, because I know we've been running this promotion all month long. It's you don't have to be present to win. So if you want to try some of the brands, you want to try some of the Macanudos, the Inspirato, whatever, you buy your 10 mix and match cigars to get your ticket. You do not have to be present to win. So it's something we've been running all month long. But if you get a chance, come on out to the store Saturday, and you'll be here maybe when we draw the winning ticket. Maybe you're luckily right. So
can I get in on this deal? I could honestly use a new humidor and a TV.
Maybe.
You know, when I worked cigar retail, I was always saying, oh man, I can't wait until I, graduate college and I don't work here anymore. Not that I didn't love working at the store, but I could never participate in the raffles because I worked there. And so I was like, oh yeah, one day I won't work here and I can come back and do events and win all this cool stuff. And now I work for a cigar manufacturer and I still can't win stuff.
Still can't. I know. We give away some crazy stuff. I have friends that threaten to quit for a week so they can get in on raffles here, but we just still don't let that fly either.
But you get all these nice cigars ahead of everybody.
Sorry, what'd you say, Tom?
I said you get all these nice cigars ahead of everybody else, and you can brag and show off, and then.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely perks. I'm not complaining. But sometimes when we do get all the cigars ahead of time, you run out of humidor space.
That's true.
Well, we've got plenty of humidor space for you down here.
Yeah. I would have loved to be able to actually come out and do the event with you guys, but I will say that this has really, I feel like, gotten a lot of people comfortable with more of this virtual event platform and the meetings and stuff to this capacity. So, I mean, if we look at it as like a silver lining for everything that's going on, I think this can be really beneficial, this sort of platform moving forward.
Yeah, it does. People like to engage, and it's kind of nice to get the information, get opportunity to get folks like yourself to talk a little bit more about the brands. It's like I said, there's only so much we can absorb, and it's nice to get it, right from your all's mouth, talk about them. So I was going to ask a question real quick. I don't know if any of our viewers have questions, Tom, but you can put them if they do.
Just one person wants to know if we're going to be carrying the Inspirato Green, and of course we are. We're going to be carrying that, and they should be in next week. So that's pretty good.
Awesome. So the Macanudo Vintage, can you tell us a little bit about that? We do very, very well with it.
Sure. The 97 in particular, or both that and the 2006?
We don't do the 2006.
Okay.
We're just doing the 97.
Sure. The 97 is one of my absolute favorite, not just Macanudos, but cigars overall. So there's a lot of terms within the cigar industry that sometimes can be, misinterpreted, like vintage or, how it's aged or how it's grown or whatever. But when we say vintage 97, it literally means that wrapper is from the year 97. Right. So it was an ideal growing year for that Connecticut broadleaf. So for ideal growing conditions, it's a dry year, so obviously not too much rain. We can add moisture, but we cannot take it out of the soil. Very warm days and warm nights, and because of all of the heat, 24/7, and a lack of rain, it makes the the tobacco very thick and oily and almost like tacky, and it really lets those flavors kind of come through. So yeah, 97 was an incredible growing year for the Connecticut broadleaf Maduro, and we have had it aging ever since. So, you know, eventually we will run out of that tobacco. Unfortunately, we don't have a time machine to go back to 97 and get more. But it's an incredible cigar because you're taking everything you'd expect from a Maduro and just kind of turning it up a few notches because of that particular growing year, as well as the amount of age it has on it at this point. So I would say medium, maybe medium plus as far as strength, but an incredibly slow smoker, and that comes from that just very thick, oily, like tacky Maduro broadleaf wrapper. And then we're using Dominican, Nicaraguan, Brazilian tobaccos for the binders and the fillers, which really just balances it out nicely. So also, I think the rings on them make them look so good.
Yes.
But I'm glad that you guys do well with them. That's one of those cigars that I feel like people don't think about, and then you kind of turn them towards it and they're like, oh my gosh, that's a really good cigar. And it's not that pricey for what you're getting. It's not that much more expensive than like a cafe series.
Right. And that's one of the things that when you point that out to the customer, and it is, I was going to compliment you guys on that price being great on that cigar. So it's kind of fits right in where a lot of people like to be, somewhere between $8, $9 and somewhere up to 11 with our state tax. It pushes it up to 11. I think that cigar is, but it's a great smoke and it's a great price, and it is kind of cool. And that's what I wanted to hear. I've been telling people that it is vintage 97. That actually is a wrapper grown at that point. I just want to make sure I was telling everybody the true story.
Yes, that is the truth. Because sometimes it's not like companies are trying to pull a fast one on you and say it's from a certain year when it's not, but sometimes it's not specified. Okay, well, has the cigar been produced and aged since 97? Is a wrapper from 97? Is one of the fillers from 97? There's a lot of variables that you take it at face value, but then don't think that hard about. I remember I was doing a tour with Perdomo back in my retail days, and I had asked what it means to be like a double or a triple Maduro. And for me, on the retail side, I just assumed it was like wrapper, binder, filler was all Maduro. And Arthur was like, well, no, that's not always the case. It just varies company by company. It could be that the Maduro is just double double dark, it's extra dark from what a single Maduro is, or it could be, two fillers are Maduro. So there's a lot that you kind of have to think about and wonder like what it actually means. So yes, anyway, I feel like this is a really long answer to a short question, but yes, the wrapper is actually from 97.
Well, I'm going to commend you all on leaving that cigar, as they call in the industry, naked, uncellophane. I'm kind of old school. To me, when you have a cigar sitting in a box, no cellophane, it just screams smoke me. And I think that's marketing wise. And I realize from a retailer's perspective, it's tough to have a lot of cigars that are on cellophane because people handle them, they get damaged, shipment.
Yeah.
That cigar just sells itself. People see that thing sitting on the shelf. It gives them a chance to try right off the bat. So
yeah. Well, and I think the saving grace with that one, I mean, I agree with you. It's like cellophane makes sense. It helps the cigar breathe. It protects it. In shipping, it can alleviate any of like the little foot tobacco snagging. Like it totally makes sense to have cellophane, but I hate the way it looks.
Right. I agree.
And so with the vintage, I think because of the ring, and then it's all set really tightly into their trays where they have their own slot, it's a little bit more difficult to handle. People can't really pull them out as easily, so I think they're discouraged from doing so. And I think the ring kind of helps elevate it so it's not sliding around, so the foot isn't sliding to the bottom and snagging. But I'm happy that you like the presentation. I think it's a beautiful presentation. It's a very simple box, but that the metal band and the no cellophane, so you can really see the color of that broadleaf Maduro.
Yep, it does make a really difference. So I'm going to go back to the event that we're having Saturday to remind everybody. At the purchase of any 10 cigars, and I left out CAO brands are also part of that. I can't think of any other brand that I might have left out, but any of the CAOs, we do a lot of the flatheads, the Brasilia, even the CAO flavors are all eligible for the purchase to get you in the drawing for the TV stuff. So,
awesome.
So that's got an image here. Yeah, I got the La Gloria Cohiba.
There you go.
The Flatheads, Partagas Punch, Macanudo.
Hoy de Monterey, Excalibur.
right, and on all the CAO flavors. So there's a lot to choose from, and it should be pretty easy for someone to put together a build a box of 20 and get 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
if you
10%
guys have
off.
customers who are big CAO Brasilia fans, the green actually shares that same wrapper, the Arapiraca. The difference is that the binder and fillers of the Brasilia is going to be all Nicaraguan, so you get a little bit more of that overall spice and pepper, whereas this is going to be a little bit smoother and sweeter. So when you guys get these in about a week, if you have people looking for the CAO Brasilias, these are going to be similar in that they share the wrapper, but so if they're looking for a Brazilian cigar and want something a little bit less like spicy.
So is the Brasilia a similar wrapper to this? How do you?
Yeah, so the Brasilia uses the Arapiraca.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to smoke it because I love the box press Brasilia. That's a great smoke in your own profile. So it'll be try this one when it comes out. So.
Yeah, CAO always gets the Brazilian tobacco, so it's nice that Rick decided to share with us.
So what do you see in the future for Macanudo? What's coming around? Have you got some secret insider tip you can share with us?
So we have a new M in development, which will be fun. So to kind of expand the flavored line, and we have the Palladium coming out again this year, which I'm not sure if you had them in last year, but it was that limited release one we did at the trade show. So that will be a yearly release. We've got the Palladium coming out this year in October, and then we will have a limited release under the Inspirato line coming out next year as well that we just started blend testing for. So that'll be fun. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a wrapper grown in a country that you would not expect. Like one particular wrapper grown in a country that I personally have not seen before.
Okay.
Oh, that's that new Canadian wrapper, isn't it?
Yes. It's actually the Milwaukee, Wisconsin wrapper.
That's what I thought. Yes.
Well, three of us here.
You can always send down test blends, and Wayne and I will sit down and review them and give you our professional opinions. That's
all right.
What we do all day long with people.
Yeah, I will say that part of the job does not suck.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it can get overwhelming when you have 20 blends to try in not a very long time. And I'm one that likes to smoke the entire cigar because it really does change. And I think a good cigar should change as you smoke it. So if you're lighting up a cigar and you only smoke a couple puffs and you're like, it's not for me, give it a little bit of a chance. It can change on you. So to really sit down and smoke 15 or 20 cigars in a couple of days and really try to take notes, it can be a little daunting sometimes. Yeah. And I know that sounds ridiculous, that's too many cigars to smoke, but it can be a lot.
Yes.
Well, here at Anstead's, we specialize in exactly that procedure.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Yes.
Perfect.
So send them all down.
I've been down to the General Cigar facility in the Dominican a couple of times. It's a beautiful, everything you guys have going on, and it's been, I think, maybe 1997 or 2006. I can't remember when I was down there last, but what great facilities you guys have. Do y'all ever do tours because we take our customers, we do a tour typically of a factory or two every year. Does General Cigar offer any tours?
So we want to start opening up tours for consumers in the future. We've been offering them for retailers, so you two would be able to go, but we currently don't have it open for consumers, and it's something that they are working on to try to open up and kind of get on a schedule for, because I think it's incredibly beneficial to bring people down to the factories. I can say the first time I went down to a cigar factory, my mind was blown.
Yes.
And it really, and from a standpoint that benefits the company, you best believe when I got back from that tour, that's all I was selling for 6 months. Yes. Because now I knew all of the ins and outs of this brand and why particular processes were used. And when you know something about a cigar, you're more inclined to talk about it and sell it because you're comfortable with it. And yes, so to answer your question, we do offer tours for you guys, but in the next hopefully year or two, we would like to open up consumer tours as well. So you guys could pick some of your best customers and come down and see the factories. And, Santiago is probably the best one to do it with. We've got the, kind of the own little La Gloria section. And it's our largest factory. It's where, Cohiba, Macanudo, La Gloria is all coming out of there. So
I think Wayne and I would be a great team to test this tour out with. Wayne's vast experience in tours and premium cigars. and me being a La Gloria Society member, I think it's perfect to have us come down and give it the full test.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I definitely don't make those decisions, but I'll put your name in.
Well, you could probably make those decisions once.
And then you'll never see me again. No.
Yeah. You can get a job here, no problem.
You know what? I would totally live in the Carolinas for sure. Because you guys are in North Carolina, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Fayetteville?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great area, I would not be opposed to that.
It's a little hot here right now, but that's normal for Fayetteville. You rarely even need, unlike you up in the mountains, up in the cold part of the country, you rarely even need much more than a jacket here in the wintertime. So
yeah.
Most of the time you don't even need a jacket. So the temperature is definitely something you can live with. A little bit hot in the summer, but overall, yearly, it's pretty great temperature down here.
Yeah, but when it's a hot summer, I just won't go outside. Like, I don't go outside in the winter here. But you know what I don't have to do in a hot summer? Shovel snow. My face doesn't freeze. Like, my sinuses don't freeze.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have snow, but you still need your shovel for all the pollen that comes down here.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't have too bad of allergies, but
it's only 2 weeks.
My husband does.
So once all this COVID-19 stuff goes away, we expect maybe you to come down with Carol Lee and give us a visit?
Oh, absolutely. Carol Lee's the best. I absolutely love working with her. And also, on a personal level, she always takes me to the best restaurants. So, yes, definitely, I will be working with her. Typically, we're slotted with everybody about twice a year. And she's in a territory that performs well for us, because unfortunately, the Dakota is not our best territory. So I don't go out to the Dakotas all that often. Whereas the Carolinas, you guys have decent taxes, a lot of really great accounts. So yes, I will definitely be out there. Like I said, unfortunately, we're knocking on the door of August here and things don't seem to be letting up all that much. So I don't know if it will be this year, but it will definitely be once I start traveling again.
Yeah,
well, we've got another event coming up in October.
Okay,
I think you'll probably have to make an exception for to join Carol Lee. She can tell you all about it. It's our Sporting Clay fundraiser event. So next time you talk to her, ask her about that, and she'll tell you how much fun she had and how great it is.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that with Carol Lee because I'm going to just look like a dumbass.
She's got you guys in separate teams.
I think
put you guys in separate teams so it's more competitive.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not a terrible shot, but I don't want to be next to her.
But was she on the winning team, Wayne?
What's that?
Was Carol Lee on the winning team?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I guess not.
Yes. But
that's fun and different. It's always nice to have stuff that's a little bit out of the box.
Right. Well, we did our first one. We did June 4th, and we had a multi-vendor event. Carol Lee participated along with 14 other vendors. And, it was the first time in my life I've ever tried to have an event and keep it small. That's not what we do. We want to have hundreds of people and piles. So it was a challenge. We thought we'd be way further past what we're at now. But we had a great time. We want to try and do it again in October. We also are big supporters of the Boy Scouts of America. I believe it's a great program. So a lot of our fundraisers are geared to supporting our local council to help the kids in the Boy Scout program. So and girls, girls now. So it's a great program. I think it's great for kids, and they get a lot of good experience out of it. So we like to figure got to do it for a charity. We might as well pick one that does a lot of good for kids. So.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So
it's fun, it's different, it's for a good cause, and I understand what you're saying about having to keep it limited. Not really your game plan when trying to do an event, right?
I know customers are coming in going, well, we didn't hear about the event. And I said, well, we kind of threw it out on Facebook once, or we sent an email where normally we just pound people with it and everybody comes. So if you didn't open one, you didn't know.
They all heard about it, Wayne. They all heard about it. We were plugging that nonstop on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
And I know we sent out about 3 emails to all 15,000 people. So And I can tell who clicks on an email and who doesn't. So I'm watching people.
Well, and maybe that's something, if it grows so much, you guys can make a weekend out of, if you're doing Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday or something, and you just like rent out the whole place. I obviously don't know what sort of facility you're doing it at, but if you have that much interest, just make like this whole thing.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's asking for us to do it again. So we appreciate, Macanudo, General Cigars supporting our events. They always do. And we really appreciate that. So like I said, I feel it's one of the companies we really partner with. Carolee is great. She does a great job taking care of us down here. And she always keeps us on top of what's new, what's coming. And she's a very easy gal to work with. So we appreciate her.
You guys are lucky with her.
Yeah, we are. Awesome.
So I've checked out your YouTube page, Laurel.
Yes.
And it's pretty cool. Tell our viewers what kind of videos they can expect to see from you.
So YouTube is going to be more reviews from all of our products. So not just Macanudo, but like you guys are doing the event with CAO, La Gloria, Hoy de Monterrey, Punch, Partagas, Cohiba. So I'll usually do a cigar review once a week. And then I've been having the opportunity this week to do some more like educational videos. So videos on cutting or lighting or humidor care. I actually have one coming out on Friday for lounge etiquette.
Tune into that one, everybody. That's a good one.
It's one of those things. I feel like there's a lot of it is very self-explanatory, and it's just in general, like, be a respectful person. But there's some stuff that I don't think people think about. Like one example is when you put a cigar out on the ashtray and people who like smash the cigar in the ashtray and it gets all smoky and stinky and then it stains it and stuff. And it's not somebody trying to do it to, be a pain. It's that they're trying to like put out their cigar, but it makes it worse. Or talking about like making fun of somebody because they only spent so much money on a cigar. I'm like, you don't know somebody's situation. Like everybody wants to be there to have a good time and socialize and stuff. And, just like, especially now, don't use a public cutter after licking your cigar.
Right.
So just kind of like, just stuff like that. I did one last week on what to do if you smoke too strong of a cigar, how to avoid it, things you can do at home or while you're out and about. So a little bit more just like general smoking and educational videos on my YouTube channel. And then my Facebook and Instagram page are more Macanudo focused. So I have unfortunately reviewed all of the Macanudos in quarantine. So there won't be any like new Macanudo review videos coming out, but more kind of Macanudo focused things. So like, again, last week I did a video on pairing my favorite Inspirato, which is the orange, with some of my favorite drinks, and kind of did like a little tutorial on how to make these drinks. So just try to keep it like fun and interesting.
Well, that's cool.
What's that, Wayne?
I was going to ask, obviously Macanudo is your favorite cigar in the General Cigar lineup. What is your second favorite cigar in the General Cigar lineup?
Well, yeah, so the Inspirato orange, not even in just like Macanudo or General, like that's legitimately one of my favorite cigars. But the other ones from General that I would say would be my favorites are the La Gloria Collection Reserva. So that was our anniversary blend that we did with Ernesto Perez Carrillo. And that was 2017, I believe we released it. I absolutely adore that cigar. It's got that Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. It's just that very like boutique-y feeling, complex but medium-bodied cigar. And I kind of thought it was a nice nod to Ernesto, being the original founder of La Gloria and being able to kind of come full circle and work with him again. I love a Cameroon wrapper, so our Excalibur Cameroon I'm very much a fan of, as well as our CAO Cameroon. I smoke a lot of the Hoya de Tradition, the spark plugs if I need like a little kick in the morning.
Now,
but yeah, I tend to be more of like a medium-bodied smoker.
Yeah, we don't do a lot with the Hoy de Monterrey. We used to years back, but you guys have like a neat little 5-pack that Carolee just sent me an email on. I think it was yesterday. So it's like 4 cigars for like $25 or $26. So it's a fantastic cigar. So we took advantage of it. So those are actually coming in. So Hoya is not a brand we typically carry much in the store. We do carry minis and cigaratellos do really well for it, but the actually brands we don't. But people have a chance, since you mentioned them, to try them here. They should be in probably maybe by the end of this week or the first of next week. But it's a little, give people a chance to try. And we bring 4-packs in like that just to see if people, if they like them, they love them, they keep bugging us, and we'll bring it. We'll bring them in by the box at that point.
Yeah. And I think that Hoyo is one of those brands, like there's a reason it's been around for so long. I mean, it's a solid cigar, but, the trend is what's new, what's exciting and interesting. And, it's one of those cigars that has been around for 50, 60 years. I mean, I'm not totally sure how long, but it's probably around that time frame. And I remember when I first started with the company, I was an event manager, so I didn't work specifically for Macanudo, and I was running a cigar dinner at Morton's in Chicago. And our rep, he's like, just pick whatever 2 cigars you want to feature. And I picked the Dark Knight and the Cameroon. And people are like, oh my God, I haven't smoked these in forever, but they're so good. And it's just, I like to kind of draw attention to these older cigars that are still fantastic, but they kind of just get like shuffled because people are looking for what's new.
Well, and it's interesting because some of the Hoyo de Monterey cigars, like the Excalibur, the Dark Knight, those were kind of, I call everything we carry premium, but then there's super premium cigars that have a little extra aging, a little more complexity to them. And they were one of the first companies to actually start creating a more complex cigar, like some of the Dark Knights and stuff. So,
yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention and was going to ask you about, I noticed you guys, we have the new bourbon Macanudo in for a flavored cigar.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, we have that. And there's also a coffee one, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So what was your guys' thought about going to a flavor profile, which is not traditional General Cigar Macanudo? So what brought that on?
We really didn't have a lot of flavor offerings as a company overall. The CEO flavors were basically all we had. And there had been some interest in doing a flavor for Macanudo for quite some time, but it was making sure that whatever we did still kind of fit the portfolio and wasn't too out of the box. Like we want to innovate and do things that are different, but we don't want to deviate so far that people aren't going to be interested. So kind of keeping with the values of Macanudo and doing the flavored line. So the coffee was first, and that was in 2018. I will say that I myself have never been a flavored cigar smoker. So when the coffee came out, I was like, ugh. Okay. And we had smoked them in the blend selection process. I was like, wow, it's actually a really good cigar. And I probably smoked more flavored cigars at our trade show when the coffee was released than I have in my entire life. But I like it because it's not like the cigar isn't just a physical vessel for flavor. You're still getting the natural tobacco flavors complementing that infusion. So if you're looking on a scale of like 1 to 10 as far as flavor strength, I would say that both of them are only maybe like 5 or 6 out of 10. So you're still getting the tobacco flavor balancing out with that coffee flavor. And same with the bourbon. I would actually argue that the bourbon is less intense in sweetness or flavor than even the coffee. And that's not simply just a bourbon infusion. It's actually modeled after an old fashioned. So you get some of like the aromatic bitters in the aroma as you're smoking it, and some sweetness and some citrus. So it's a more balanced cigar. We weren't super happy with the way just the bourbon infusion was going. It just kind of tasted like alcohol, but you weren't getting all of like the complex flavors that you would expect from a higher quality bourbon. So by going after this craft cocktail, we were able to achieve more of that overall flavor. But yeah, I smoked the coffee probably more than I smoked the bourbon, but I'm very happy and honestly impressed that I like them so much and that they really turned out exactly how we wanted them.
And to be honest with you, we kind of shied away from the coffee because we had a number of coffee-infused flavor profile cigars to begin with. But when the bourbon came out, we did jump on that, and we find it doing very, very well for us. So
awesome.
People seem to like it. So appreciate your description on that.
Yeah. Well, it was very different than the other bourbon flavors out there. It's not as intense. You have a little bit more of that, like the sweetness and the citrus and stuff. So I think, I don't think it's called the Maker's Mark cigar anymore. I think it's just the bourbon cigar, maybe it's called.
Ted cigar.
Yeah, that one. And then I think there's a couple other ones that have like the bourbon or like a whiskey infusion, but I think they're all so different that it makes sense that they all exist.
Yeah. So does the Macanudo bourbon, and because I'm not a flavored cigar person either, though I started off smoking a Baccarat, which is a sweet tip cigar many years ago, but then eventually got to where I didn't care for the sweet tip. Does a bourbon one have a sweet tip?
It does, but it's very mellow, and you'll get the infusion the entire cigar, but the sweet tip starts to wane about maybe an inch in. So you have a little bit of the sweet tip, but it's definitely not intense because Wayne, like you, I am not a flavored cigar smoker. I still would not categorize myself as a flavored cigar smoker, but I do enjoy both of those, and not simply because they're Macanudo, but because I think we do a good job of making sure it's balanced and not too sweet. I also think it's a good kind of like a hybrid cigar for somebody who's maybe a more intense flavored smoker, whether it be a CAO flavor or an acid or anything else, or like a Tatiana, kind of using that to bridge the gap between that and then like a traditional cigar.
Okay. All right. You got me. I'm ready to try one.
Oh, you haven't tried one yet?
I have not. I mean, again, I was kind of asking the staff the other day what they thought about it. And, you know, some of the folks here like infused cigars and love it. One of the guys smokes them all the time, thought it was great. The other folks haven't tried it either. So now I'm going to make everybody try it. So
okay. Yeah, I think it's not so intense that somebody who's not a flavored cigar smoker wouldn't enjoy it. Okay. The coffee one was very interesting. We sponsor the Pebble Beach Pro-Am every February. So we have a little booth up at like this VIP section. And a couple of years ago, right after we had released the coffee, we brought the coffee with us in lieu of the CAO flavors, which we typically brought 1 or 2 offerings. And every day, 4 days in a row, the coffee was the quickest to sell out because people would smell it and they're like, ooh, what's that? And they would smoke it. And I would say 80% of the people coming to take one were not flavored cigar smokers.
Okay. Because I remember, this goes way back, you guys had the Kahlua cigar quite a few years ago. And the first time I ever tried it was at the show. And they had just a little small sip of Kahlua along with the cigar. And, man, it really, really paired well. I was really, really impressed with it. And not that I smoke it very often, but when you paired it with Kahlua, it just was, like, spot on. And
yeah.
It was one of my wife's favorite cigars. I still think that she doesn't smoke a whole lot. She still has 3 or 4 of the original Kahlua cigars hidden in her humidor at the house. So.
The Kahlua cigar was one of those that I wish I would have gotten more into when they were prevalent. Like when I started smoking, they were already starting to kind of be sparse. So in the shop I worked at had some. So, you know, hindsight is 2020. Well, I don't know. Is 2020 good anymore? But, you know, I wish I could go back and like grab a couple of those and put them in my humidor because I've got a lot of cigars that have been discontinued or are hard to find. But the Kahlua is one of those that I do not have. And I've probably only smoked 1 or 2 in my life. Okay. But I remember it being good.
So normally at our events, we do a couple of trivia questions.
Sure.
So, and then we'll have a drawing next week. So folks that are watching or folks can go back and watch and either get the answers from what's something we've already said. I thought of a good trivia question. When did the Macanudo brand actually come about? So that will be what year? I think it was mentioned earlier on in the video. So people will either remember what you said or can go back. And then can you think maybe of a trivia question for Macanudo that we could share with our customers, Laurel?
Yeah, you want it to be something that we'd already mentioned or something that they have to like do a little research on?
We like it if they have to do a little research, though.
Okay. So the Inspirato Orange was recently in the top 25 cigars of the year for Cigar Aficionado. What year was that?
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one. All right. So you have one, Tom? You have a third one?
Do I have one? What is the wrapper being used on the new Inspirato Green?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like it.
And you have to spell it correctly. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
I can barely pronounce it correctly, so don't feel bad.
Say it again. How do you say it again?
I can't say it again. Otherwise, we'll give it away.
Oh, you're right. Good call. Yeah,
I'll text it to
you. Good call. Awesome.
Well, I've got one last question. In general cigars, I guess. Is there anything we might be seeing in the future for La Gloria? I mean, one of my favorites was the old Trunk Show line.
Yes.
Love those. But those are long gone, obviously. But anything new coming out soon?
yes, I'm not trying to be one of those people who's like, I don't know if I can talk about it, because I'm not as intimately familiar with like the timeline of La Gloria. I don't know if I can like give details on it, but yes, there's one in particular that I am very excited about, that will be coming out next year. And yeah, so yes, new stuff for La Gloria coming out. Exciting stuff that I'm very excited about, and very out of the box for what is currently out there for it.
Awesome.
Cool. We look forward to that. And we can help you with test blends, don't forget.
Yes, test blends, factory tour. You are on the list.
Excellent.
I'm taking mental notes.
So I want to mention one last time our event this Saturday with Carol Lee. Please come on out and join us. As everybody knows, if it's Saturday night, our hours we close at 8 o'clock now. We used to be open until midnight when our bar was open, but we'll of course do all the social distancing practicing we can do. Get as many people in here, get a chance to win that TV, also that beautiful humidor. Get a chance to try out. It'd be nice if we get that green cigar in by then, but it's August 1st just doesn't quite cut the mustard there. It'd be fun to have that day.
Well, I guess then we'll just have to do another promotion.
That's it. We'll have to do it.
Or we can run a special if people want to pre-order a box.
That is
Yeah.
true. We can do that.
We'll further upgrade your man cave.
Yes. We'll make
That's a great idea.
We'll do that. We'll do a promotion on the green box deal. We'll figure out what it is. So when folks either come by, we can let them know if they want to try out a box of those. We'll give them a good deal on them to start off with. So that'd be awesome. And they also get their tickets for the TV. All right.
Looks like you got a fan. Looks like Hector Madden is a big fan of yours.
Oh, thank you, Hector.
What about us, Hector? Don't you like our channel?
I saw somebody in the comments, trash talking your shooting skills, Tom. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, he knows better.
He must know you.
He knows me, and he's just trying to be funny. He's not.
I think it's funny. Wayne thinks it's funny.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming on and spending this time with us and sharing your stories with our customers. And we look forward to the day where you can come out and give us a visit. So I think we're getting close to our hour time. So
really close.
Do we have any other questions? Somebody's on the street now.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. It was nice to be able to hang out with some people and smoke a cigar.
Yes. Absolutely. Anytime you want to hang out with us and smoke a cigar with us virtually, we can do it.
All right.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Laurel, for being on our show and telling us all about some wonderful facts of Macanudo General. And we look forward to the Inspirado Green. So, and we look forward to seeing you here soon, hopefully in 2020.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye. Thank you, Laurel.
Thank you.